How much of your life have you spent trapped in your own head? How many dreams have you delayed? How many opportunities have you missed? And how many moments have you ruined? Not because you weren't capable, but because you couldn't stop thinking. Overthinking is the silent killer of confidence, the thief of time, and the enemy of progress. It convinces you that you're being smart, that you're preparing, that you're protecting yourself from failure. But the truth is, you're not protecting yourself, you're paralyzing yourself. Every second you spend replaying the past or worrying about the future is a second stolen from your present. It's time to wake up. It's time to break the cycle. No more spinning in circles. No more analyzing until you're exhausted. No more waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect moment, or the perfect version of yourself to arrive. You don't need more time to think. You need courage to act. Because the life you want, the person you're capable of becoming, is waiting for you on the other side of one decision. The decision to stop overthinking and start living. Every single day, millions of people get stuck in the same mental trap, overthinking. It starts small. You're replaying a conversation, analyzing what you should have said or done. Then it snowballs into doubt, fear, and paralysis. Overthinking steals your energy, your confidence, and your time. It convinces you that you're preparing or being cautious when really, you're holding yourself hostage to thoughts that lead nowhere. Here's the truth. You are not your thoughts. You're the one who decides what to do with them. When you overthink, you're allowing the mind to rehearse failure instead of taking action towards success. Overthinking doesn't protect you. It doesn't give you answers. It only keeps you from living fully. The way out of overthinking isn't more thinking. It's action. The smallest step forward is more powerful than the perfect plan locked in your head. When your brain starts spinning in circles, you need to break the cycle. You can do this by interrupting the pattern and forcing yourself to move. Action silences doubt. Action builds momentum. Action unlocks clarity. It's time to reclaim your power. You don't have to figure everything out right now. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. You simply have to stop thinking and start doing. You're one decision away from changing your life. Stop rehearsing fear and start practicing courage. No more overthinking. Your future isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's waiting for you to begin. 5 keynotes for the speech. Overthinking is the enemy of progress. Overthinking makes small problems seem enormous and keeps you stuck in analysis paralysis. The more you replay scenarios in your mind, the less likely you are to take action. The antidote is not more thinking. It's moving forward despite uncertainty. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are just electrical signals in your brain, not facts. Overthinking gives them power they don't deserve. Learn to observe your thoughts. Then choose which ones deserve your energy. Interrupt the cycle with action. Overthinking can only exist in inaction. The moment you take a single step forward, send the email, make the call, write the first sentence, you break the loop and create momentum. Clarity comes through doing, not thinking. People believe they need clarity before they act. But in reality, action breeds clarity. When you move, the path becomes clearer, and you learn faster than endless mental rehearsals ever could. You're one decision away from change. Your life doesn't transform in giant leaps. It changes in small moments where you decide to stop thinking and start doing. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it. Overthinking is like quicks, and for your mind, the more you try to think your way out, the deeper you sink. You convince yourself you're being responsible, that you're preparing or analyzing, but in reality, you're just standing still while life passes you by. Every time you replay that conversation, question that decision, or analyze that opportunity to death, you're losing precious time. You're letting fear disguise itself as logic. That inner voice whispers, what if you fail? What if it doesn't work? What if people judge you? And so you stay frozen, circling around the same thoughts, trying to find the perfect answer that doesn't exist. But here's the truth. Progress doesn't come from thinking about it. It comes from doing something about it. Every person who has achieved something great didn't wait until they felt ready. They didn't sit there and think their way into confidence. They acted, and you can do the same. The trap of overthinking is that it convinces you that you're making progress because you're spending so much mental energy. But that's a lie. Thinking without action is just a mental treadmill. You're working hard, but you're not moving forward. You're preparing in your mind, but preparation without execution is procrastination in disguise. The only way to escape overthinking is to move. That's it. Take one small step, even if it's messy or imperfect. Call the person, send the email, sign up for the class, put your shoes on and get out the door. Action kills overthinking because it shifts your brain from problem mode into solution mode. It interrupts the cycle of endless questions and doubts. It's like flipping a switch in your mind. When you act, you prove to yourself that you're capable. You remind yourself that you're in control. And each tiny action builds momentum, and momentum is what you need to get unstuck. Think about this. How many times in your life have you overthought something for days, weeks, or even months, only to finally take action and realize it wasn't nearly as hard or scary as you imagined? That's because overthinking magnifies fear. It makes mountains out of molehills. It creates problems that don't exist yet. Your brain is trying to protect you from failure, but in the process, it's keeping you from success. The longer you stay in your head, the harder it becomes to take the leap. But the second you do, the fear starts to shrink. You don't need more time to think. You don't need to analyze it from every angle. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need courage for 5 seconds. The courage to make the first move. Once you do, your brain will catch up, and you'll realize you had the strength all along. Overthinking is not a personality trait you're stuck with. It's a habit, and habits can be broken. Every time you feel your mind spiraling, remind yourself, thinking isn't going to get me anywhere right now, but action will. This is your life. It's not a rehearsal. There's no dress rehearsal for your dreams. You either act now, or you spend the rest of your life wondering what could have been. Don't let overthinking rob you of your potential. Don't let fear of making the wrong move stop you from making any move at all. There's no such thing as a perfect decision. There's only a decision and then the next and the next. Progress is built one step at a time, so stop waiting, stop doubting, stop overthinking, start doing. The future you want is waiting for you, but you can only meet it if you move. You're not going to think your way into it. You're going to act your way into it. No more overthinking. The time is now. You are not your thoughts. Let that sink in for a moment, because this single truth can set you free from the grip of overthinking. Your brain produces thousands of thoughts every single day. Some are helpful, some are random, and many are complete nonsense. But when you start identifying with those thoughts, you give them power they don't deserve. A negative thought pops up and suddenly you believe it's true. A doubt creeps in and you assume it must mean you're not capable. You hear that voice saying, "What if you fail? What if you're not enough? What if this doesn't work out?" And you treat it like it's the voice of God instead of what it really is, just a fleeting electrical impulse in your mind. Overthinking thrives when you forget this distinction. You assume your thoughts are facts, and so you analyze them endlessly. You argue with them. You try to prove them wrong in your head. But here's the secret. You don't have to argue with them at all. You can notice a thought, recognize it for what it is, and then choose not to engage. Just because your brain says something doesn't make it real. It's like a radio station playing in the background. You don't have to turn up the volume. You don't have to dance to the music. You can simply change the channel. The truth is, your thoughts are often a reflection of your fears, your past experiences, and the stories you've told yourself over and over again, not reality. That little voice in your head isn't all-knowing. It's just loud, and the more you overthink, the louder it gets. But here's the good news. You don't have to silence your thoughts to take control of your life. You just have to stop letting them drive your decisions. Imagine if every thought that entered your mind was like a cloud passing through the sky. Some are dark and heavy, some are light and fluffy, but none of them can stay forever. You don't have to hold on to every single one. You don't have to build your life around them. Instead of asking, is this thought true? Ask yourself, is this thought helpful? Does it move me forward or keep me stuck? If it's not helpful, you have permission to let it go. The biggest mistake people make is waiting for their minds to be perfectly clear before they take action. They think, once I feel confident, I'll go for it. Once the fear goes away, I'll start. Once I stop overthinking, I'll move. But confidence doesn't come first, action does. And the more you act, the less power your thoughts have over you. It's like training a muscle. Every time you choose to act in spite of your thoughts, you're teaching your brain that you're in control. You are not the voice in your head. You are the person who decides whether or not to listen. You are the one with the power to say, that's just a thought. It doesn't define me. It doesn't control me. It's not stopping me. You can acknowledge the fear and move forward anyway. You can hear the doubt and choose courage anyway. You don't have to wait for the perfect mindset to take the first step. Your thoughts may come and go, but your actions are what shape your reality. Every small decision to move forward in the face of overthinking builds a stronger, braver, freer you. So the next time your mind starts spinning with worries and what-ifs, remind yourself, these are just thoughts. They don't own me. They don't decide my future. I do. And then take one small step forward to prove it. Overthinking cannot survive when you take action. It feeds on stillness, on hesitation, on those endless loops in your head where you play out every possible scenario and imagine every possible failure. The more you sit and think, the deeper the cycle becomes. You know that feeling, your brain spinning like a broken record, telling you that you're not ready, that you don't know enough, that you need more time. It feels heavy, paralyzing, like you're trapped in your own mind. But the truth is, you don't have to stay there. You don't have to wait until the fear goes away or until you're completely sure. The way out is simple. Move. The second you take a step, any step, you interrupt the loop. Action changes the way your brain works. It forces your mind to stop spinning and start focusing. Your brain can't obsess over fear and do the work at the same time. That's the beauty of movement. You don't have to know the whole plan. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to do something small to break the cycle, make the call, send the text, write the first sentence, walk out the door. That tiny act flips a switch in your brain and reminds you that you are in control. Not your thoughts, not your fear. People make the mistake of waiting for confidence before they act. But confidence isn't what gets you started. It's what comes after you start. Action builds momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Think about the last time you finally did something you'd been avoiding. How quickly did the fear shrink once you were in motion? That's because fear can't survive in the presence of action. Fear needs your stillness to grow. Movement is your weapon against it. You don't have to leap. You don't have to take massive action. You just need to start. The first step doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to exist. And once you take it, you'll notice something amazing. Your mind will begin to quiet down. The doubt will start to fade. The questions will feel less important. Why? Because action demands your focus. It pulls your attention out of your head and into the present moment where progress lives. Here's what you need to understand. Your brain isn't always your friend. It's designed to keep you safe, not to make you great. So when you're about to do something new or scary, your brain will flood you with reasons to stop. It's not trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you. But growth and comfort don't live in the same place. If you want change, you have to move anyway, even if your hands are shaking, even if your voice trembles, even if the fear is still there. Action isn't about eliminating fear, it's about showing fear that it doesn't get to decide. Every time you feel yourself spiraling into overthinking, remind yourself, thinking won't solve this, doing will. Stand up, count down from 5, take a breath and move. That's all it takes to break the loop. And once you break it, you'll feel the power come back into your hands. You'll realize you're not stuck. You never were, you were just paused, waiting for a moment that was never going to arrive. The perfect moment isn't coming. You create it by acting. You don't have to know where the path leads to take the first step. You just have to decide that your future is worth more than your fear. Every single time you interrupt the cycle with action, you're building a stronger version of yourself, one who's no longer a prisoner to overthinking, one who doesn't wait for the perfect plan, one who knows that the smallest step forward is infinitely more powerful than the biggest thought stuck in your head. So stop letting fear talk you out of your life. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop giving your thoughts more power than they deserve. Interrupt the cycle. Move your body. Do the thing. Your future depends on it. Clarity isn't something you find sitting in a chair thinking about your life. It's not going to drop out of the sky while you pace the floor, overanalyzing every decision you've ever made. Clarity comes through doing. It comes when you stop rehearsing every possible outcome in your head and start putting one foot in front of the other. The biggest lie overthinking tells you is that you need to figure everything out first, that you can't move forward until you have all the answers. That's not true. You don't get the answers by thinking. You get them by acting. Think about it. How many times in your life have you waited for the perfect plan? You thought if you could just analyze it enough, if you could just prepare a little longer, then you'd finally feel ready. But did that feeling ever come? Probably not. That's because readiness is not a feeling. It's a decision, and clarity is not something you get before you start. It's something you gain along the way. Every step you take teaches you something. Even the wrong steps move you closer to the right path because they give you information you didn't have before. Overthinking convinces you that you can think your way into a perfect future, but the truth is, the path to your future doesn't unfold in your head. It unfolds in the real world as you act, as you try, as you learn. You won't figure out what you're meant to do by sitting still. You figure it out by experimenting, by failing, by adjusting, and by moving forward again. The clarity you're waiting for will meet you halfway, but only if you take the first step. There's a reason you feel stuck when you overthink. Your brain was designed to solve problems, not to endlessly analyze them. When you keep replaying the same thoughts, you're not solving anything. You're just exhausting yourself. You don't need more time to think. You need to break the cycle by taking imperfect action. Action changes everything because it gives you feedback. It gives you evidence. It gives you momentum. You can't steer a parked car, but once you start moving, you can make adjustments along the way. Stop telling yourself you need to be confident first. Stop believing you need to see the whole staircase before you take the first step. You don't, you just need to move. The second you do, the fog begins to lift. What seemed complicated in your head becomes simpler in practice. What felt impossible suddenly feels doable. Why? Because when you act, your brain stops spinning in what-ifs and starts focusing on what's next. Clarity doesn't come to people who sit on the sidelines of their lives, waiting for certainty. It comes to those who are willing to get in the game, make a mess, and figure things out as they go. You don't have to get it perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to show up and take the next right step. One action leads to another, and suddenly you realize you've built a bridge over the fear that was holding you back. Don't waste another moment believing you need to know everything before you begin. That's not how life works. The people who look like they have it all figured out, they started without a clue. They took a leap and learned as they went. You can do the same. You're allowed to try, you're allowed to fail, you're allowed to adjust. That's how clarity is born. not in your head but in your actions. So stop waiting for the perfect plan. Stop hoping the fear will go away. Stop believing you need to think about it a little more. You don't. What you need is movement. Start where you are with what you have. The rest will unfold as you go. Clarity is not a prerequisite for action. It's the reward for taking it. Here's the expanded version of the fifth keynote. You're one decision away from change in 700 words. Written without any headings or subtitles, and in the style of Mel Robbins. You are only one decision away from changing your life. One moment, one choice, one small act of courage. That's all it takes to create a ripple effect that shifts everything. Yet so often, we underestimate the power of a single decision. We think change has to be big and dramatic, like quitting your job or moving across the country. But real transformation doesn't usually begin with something massive. It begins with something simple, deciding you've had enough of living the same way and choosing to do something about it. It doesn't matter how long you've been overthinking, doubting yourself, or staying stuck. That cycle can end the second you make a different choice. You don't have to know all the steps. You don't have to feel confident. You don't have to wait until you're sure it will work. You just have to decide. When you do, you take back control from your fears and your excuses. You take your power out of your head and put it back into your hands. Every breakthrough starts with one moment like this. The moment where you decide to stop waiting for permission. The moment where you stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What if I succeed?" The moment where you finally stop replaying the past and start creating the future. All the overthinking in the world won't make the decision for you. You've got to choose to act, even if it feels scary, even if you don't know what happens next. Think about how many times you've been one choice away from a completely different outcome. The time you didn't send the message. The time you didn't speak up. The time you didn't say yes to the opportunity or no to the thing that was draining you. All of those were turning points. And here's the thing, another turning point is here right now. You can decide today that you're not going to let fear, doubt, or overthinking dictate your life anymore. When you're stuck in your head, you imagine the worst-case scenarios. You convince yourself that choosing wrong will ruin everything. But the reality is, there are no perfect choices. Life isn't a straight line. It's a series of course corrections. You make a decision, you take action, and you adjust as you go. But nothing changes until you choose. Indecision keeps you trapped. One choice gets you moving. Don't overcomplicate this. Your next step doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to be life-altering on its own. It just has to be something that moves you forward. Change starts small. The moment you decide to stop overthinking and start doing, you shift your momentum. One tiny decision leads to the next, and before you know it, you've built a life that once felt impossible. You are never more than one decision away from becoming the person you're meant to be. So decide that you're done letting fear win. Decide that you're done putting your life on hold. Decide that your future is more important than your comfort zone. You don't have to know how it will all work out. You just have to know that you're ready to try. Your life is waiting on the other side of that decision. The future you dream about is closer than you think. It's not waiting for you to have all the answers. It's waiting for you to take the first step. And the second you do, you'll realize you've always had the power to change everything.